Hi, I'm Lance Henriksen. You're watching Brian Lomax's Movie Talk.
Batman Mask of the Phantasm sees Batman going up against another vigilante who's been taking out mob bosses all across Gotham City. Unfortunately for the Dark Knight, he's the one who's getting blamed for these murders, and now the police are after him as well as the mob. The identity of the real killer, this new vigilante on the scene known as the Phantasm, is a mystery, and that's the crux of this story. Throughout the film we are given flashbacks to Bruce Wayne's past and to Batman's beginnings. We see how this rich billionaire became the Dark Knight. We see Bruce's early romance with a woman named Andrea Beaumont, whose father was once blackmailed by all these mobsters who are now being killed by the masked vigilante. Could it be that he is this vigilante taking revenge after all these years? Throw the Joker into the mix and it all adds up to what is, quite frankly, one of the best Batman films ever made. The voices in this film are absolutely spot on, as they were in the series. I honestly can't think of any player in this film that puts a foot wrong. They're all perfectly cast, and that's due to the casting director Andrea Romano, who did an excellent job in the TV series as well. Kevin Conroy, for many, is the definitive Batman, and it's not hard to see why. He puts different inflections into the voice work as to whether he's doing Bruce Wayne, the silly kind of version who's like the drunken womanizer type, or whether he's the serious Bruce Wayne, and then another inflection when he's Batman. There are a lot of inspirations here, I think, for Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, particularly the mob element. I really like the mob element here. It's not just all about the wacky supervillains, although we do get the Joker, but even the Joker in this film is tied to the mob in much the same way that the Joker in The Dark Knight is tied to the mob. It's the mob that hire the Joker in that film, whereas in this one he was once a part of the mob. It's nice to see this little bit of history in the Joker's character without giving away too much, without showing us his former identity. We still get an inkling into who this man might have been before he fell into a vat of acid. Mark Hamill as the Joker is fantastic. He is, for me, the quintessential Joker. I've said before, I do love Heath Ledger's. I think he's probably my favourite, simply because he gets to play the character on screen as well, not just doing the voice. But Hamill's performance here, even though it's all through the voice work, is just fantastic, and there's not many other people who come close to this interpretation. Certainly throughout any of the other animated movies I've seen, no one has ever touched what Hamill has done here. Batman in this film is a real badass right from his introduction, when we see him putting his foot on a table with this guy trapped underneath it, and he knocks this guy out by just applying a bit of pressure. He just doesn't break a sweat. He busts in the room and he breaks some skulls. The character of the Phantasm was created for this film. Now the character did later go on to appear in the comic books, but it is a great creation. I like the story that they've set up. I like the arc that this character goes through when the identity is finally revealed. The sound design throughout the film is really great too. There's some real heft to the sound effects, the gunshots and the kicks and the punches. It really feels like you're there in the room. Shirley Walker does an excellent job with the music as well here. She really ups her game from the TV series. She did fine work on the show, again, as I say, but here it's more epic. She gets a bigger canvas to work with. We open the film with this kind of choir and this orchestral score, and it sends shivers down my spine. It's really cracking stuff. The violence in this film is also escalated to what they were able to show in the TV series. Obviously, this being on the big screen, they can do a lot more with it, but it's quite brutal. I mean, we don't get loads of blood and guts or anything, but we still get murders. We see people killed on screen, which is something they were never obviously allowed to do on the show. The animation is a lot more fluid here as well. You can tell that they've had a lot more time to develop it, a lot more time to work on it. You're probably using a lot more frames per second than they would in the TV show, so it feels more fluid. It feels a lot more crisp. There's some real standout action sequences. As I say, the opening fight sequence where Batman takes out all these goons. There's a really nice nice action sequence when Batman's trying to escape from the police force, which really reminds me of the part in the Batman Year One storyline by Frank Miller when he's trying to evade a SWAT team. It feels like it's ripped right out of that, to be honest, and it's really good. And a final fight scene with the Joker set in this kind of model city. It's really cracking stuff in the action stakes. This isn't just a film about explosions and violence, though. There's a really good story here, a really good personal element with the character of Bruce Wayne and his relationship with Andrea Beaumont. I like the juxtaposition we have in the flashbacks of the scenes where he's first meeting her and getting to know her, falling in love with her, and his early days as a vigilante before he's taken on the mantle of Batman. And we see how he's torn between these two worlds, these two choices that he can make. He can either have a personal life and be happy and forget this kind of promise that he made to his dead parents, or he can fulfill that promise and become the Batman, possibly at the risk of neglecting any kind of personal life. The script to this film is just fantastic. It has a maturity to it that you just wouldn't expect of a film of this nature from this time period. It was made in 1993 and there weren't really a lot of really mature comic book adaptations on the big screen back then. That being said, it also knows when to have fun. I like the dialogue between Alfred and Bruce. I like how playful Alfred is. I like that he kind of mocks Bruce in many ways and points out the ridiculous nature of his mission to become Batman. There's a particular line when he talks about having pressed his tights and put away his exploding gas pellets, and it just, as I say, it just calls attention to the ridiculousness of what Bruce is doing. I really love this film, and it's one of the best Batman movies ever made, probably my second favourite Batman movie after the Christopher Nolan trilogy. If you've not seen this, maybe because it's animated, if that puts you off for whatever reason, all I can say is don't let that put you off. It's a fantastic film and I give it a 10 out of 10. So we've had tons of Batman animated movies since the release of this film, but I want to know from you guys, do you think any of them have bettered it? Have you seen this? What do you think about it? Comment below, let me know, and until next time, thanks for watching. There's a certain level of maturity to this film. The script to this film is this was like, as I balls, his early days as a vigilante before he's become, oh my goodness, what on earth.